See, yesterday we had a brief discussion on section A. So very quick recap, 5 days session, or you can say we name it recall mentorship in the sense, as I said yesterday also, these are the 5 areas which basically in GS paper decides everything. These are the only 5 areas. You have enough time now to, you can say, fine tune certain things. You don't have to go on and you can say see each and everything. It's not required. Simply you have to just fine tune certain areas. For example, yesterday our theme was very specific. Theme was very specific in the sense how to be specific in the answer writing, because as I said, that this is the probably the only year in my entire you can say the career where I have seen that lot of influence of social media on answer writing. So you need to take care, because UPSC doesn't matter. For UPSC doesn't matter topper or ORN or XYZ institute, doesn't matter. Every year they have certain things to ask. Every year they play with certain patterns. Every year they bring certain thing new. This year also they will do the same. There is no. The only thing that you need to take care is that UPSC is all about micromanagement of the syllabus. And that's why I told you that yesterday I framed some 550 questions. And if you simply go through those 550 questions, almost all the subtopics of the ethics is done. In the sense, recall 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You don't have to do anything, just go through it. सिर्फ आप उसको पढ़ लीजिए और वो आपके एक रिकॉल की प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व कर देगी. So this is what it is. So now we'll go with the case study. Fine. Today we'll go with the case study. Certain case studies we are going to do today in the class itself. Just Khushi, Ayush, you will get the question. Don't worry for that. I will ask them to upload the PDF of these 550 questions. So don't worry for that. We'll take care. Yeah, it's this. Don't worry for that. just concentrate on today's session. We'll talk later. They are talking about yesterday's session. So in case study, if you look at the case study and why I'm doing this session, because of the 2 problems that I have encountered while correcting the copies. There are 2 problems. Number 1, the first problem in the case study, which I have witnessed, is generally students are hooked. Hooked in the sense that you read a case and without exploring the real problem or the alternatives, you are hooked. You are hooked. And then in the entire, you can say, writing, you want to prove your point. You want to prove your point. Rather than exploring the better alternative, you are proving your point. There are 2 points here. Number 2, there is a general tendency among the candidates that they go for, you can say, I call it sandwich approach. In the sense, somewhere you have in your mind that you have to write 2 extreme options and 1 middle path. Will do, will not do, will do this. So you can say, and in the conclusion, you say, you eliminate the extreme 2 and then you come to the middle path. And this is a very, you can say, a standard template, which ideally should not be, because case studies are set of problems. We call it problem statement, and every problem is different. So in every problem, some extreme may work, some extreme may not work. May not work. As I discussed yesterday, that if there is a case of whistle blowing and there is a threat to the life, you can talk about the extreme that I will not blow the whistle because there is a threat to life. But when it comes to, you can say, communal right, and you are positioned as a superintendent of police, you cannot say that I will do nothing. How you can say that I will do nothing? So when you say this extreme, you need to be very careful. Also, when you read a case, generally I call it, you can say, the decisions generally you take is at the level of I call it expressive level. Expressive level simply means that where emotion dominates. So you read, your emotion dominates, you are hooked. You are hooked. So you need to be a little bit careful that while reading your case study or the problem statement, that your emotion doesn't dominate you. Generally case study में आप देखोगे, आप underline करते हो, एक emotion के आसपास आप hook हो गए हो और पूरे में आप proof कर देते हो उस point को. This is why it is like this. So let's come to the point. The first point here. In the case study is basically how to read a problem statement, fine, and how to write. Obviously, there are two aspects: how to read a problem statement and how to write. So while reading a problem statement, you have to take care of the four things. So when you are going through the case study, you just highlight four things in the case study, because the entire case study's answer, option, merit, demerit, etc. will move around these things only. So once you are clear about these things, then task becomes a little bit easier. So for example, the first thing first is the problem. Now, when we say problem, you will have to apply just one thing, and then why you think that this is the core problem. Why you think that this is the core problem. So number one, you have to identify this. Again, I'm saying why I'm saying this, because this why will help you to prevent from hooking into the emotion. You are not taking decision at the expressive level. In the sense, emotion doesn't dominate because you are applying why. The moment you apply why, you think twice. The moment you think twice, you are applying a reasoning into it. A reasoning into it. So the moment you apply reasoning here into it, obviously you will think twice, and then you will think more from the practical point of view. Right. Second is called role obligation. Here, a role obligation, you have to see from 2 points of view. Number one, as the prime actor. And another, you have to take care of the stakeholders involved. Prime actor, in the sense, you must have, you can say, your role, responsibilities, etc. And a stakeholder, I'm not talking about how to write. I'm saying how to read a problem statement. A stakeholder, identifying a stakeholder is important in the sense that you have to identify their interests, their claims, etc. Why it is very important? Because in the entire writing, your explanation, or you can say clue about the explanation or clue about the different alternatives you get from here itself. So once you are very clear about the stakeholder, their interests, their claims, so it gives you some thoughts what to do, what not to do, because that case will move around the stakeholders' interest. But very important point, in every case, neither you have to write nor this option is available. Today also I am giving you certain question where you will find that it is not required. It is not required either. It is not required either. क्योंकि हर में stakeholder नहीं हो सकता. For example, जैसे अभी आपने यूपीएससी का अगर क्वेश्चन देखेंगे तो यूपीएससी ने क्वेश्चंस फॉर एग्जांपल एडवर्ड स्नोडन का एक केस था 2 साल पहले, स्पाइंग की केस थी. In that Edward Snowden case, UPSC has asked about the moral versus legal case. Morality versus legality. Now there you cannot write the stakeholder, because in a stakeholder you cannot write that it's basically about India, America, Germany, continent, Australia. इसका कोई सेंस नहीं. इसी तरह से देखोगे एक बार क्वेश्चन उन्होंने सस्टेनेबिलिटी पे दिया है, केस स्टडी बनाया. इन सस्टेनेबिलिटी आल्सो यू कैन नॉट राइट प्लैनेट, कॉन्टिनेंट, एटसेट्रा. यू कैन नॉट राइट. So you have to be very careful about where you need to write, where you have to skip. Number one. Number three, most important point that you have to highlight or understand while reading is constraints. Constraints is basically the limitations which restricts your thinking, which limits your options, which limits your options. This identification or capturing this point will help you in the justification. When you justify your answer, why not? So constraint becomes very important. Once you understand the constraint, then it helps you to write practical answer. Practical does not mean unethical. Rather, practical simply means here that you are understanding the limitation within which you have to take decisions. Because it's not open field, it's a problem solving. Na? So problem solving, and in this case, you can say that in the case study, always do remember, it's not about decision making, rather it's more about effective decision making. There is a difference between decision making and effective decision making. You get marks for effective decision making, not merely you can say reflecting, yes, just counting the options 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, it will not help you. Not at all. It will never help you. In any case, it has to be one and only one thing, that is effective decision making process. So, and the last is objective or goals. In the sense, what you want to see finally. आप देखना क्या चाहते हैं? एक solution को किस तरह से देखना चाहते हैं? That you will have to be clear, because then only you will discuss entire things. So these are the 4 things when you read a case study, you have to you can say highlight it, so that it keeps you on the track, completely on the track. Also, you will see that since last year, UPSC has adopted a pattern, and that is creating exhaustive case study. It's very lengthy. Mind it, this is another set of skill test, and that is comprehending ability. Case is not complex, mind it. Case is not complex. It's lengthy, not very tough. Lengthy in the sense that additional challenge is before you, because additional challenge is if you start with the case study, you are already under pressure, because agar itna lamba hai, and if you are not able to do it within the range of 12 to 15 minutes, then your section A will compromise. And if you start with the section A, and if you are not able to do this, then your section B will compromise. So the point is why I am saying this, because if whenever you approach the case study and it's lengthy, then always you have to take care of 2 things. Highlight these 4 things, underline these 4 things. You must be very clear about these 4 things, so that you should not go by any chance to revisit. The moment you revisit to search anything, you are gone. You are gone. आपका एक क्वेश्चन कंप्रोमाइज हो गया, अब आपके पास कोई ऑप्शन नहीं. The moment you revisit, that's why I am saying that be careful, be skillful, in a sense that you should not revisit at all. एक बार पढ़ लिया, अंडरलाइन कर गया, छप गया, आगे बढ़ रहा है. That's it. Very simple. Very, very simple. So that's why I am saying that this is why you have to capture, so that मुझे आगे पढ़ने की जरूरत ही नहीं है, दोबारा पढ़ने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. मैंने crux capture कर लिया है. Now, in and around these 4 things, it will act as a guide. compass कि कहाँ move करना, कैसे move करना. So these are the 4 points that will help you to keep on track. Number 1. Number 2, let's come to the writing. So it's about reading, writing. Writing, I always say that start with the intro. A brief intro gives the context. Just 2-3 sentences, crux that what is this case is all about. We'll do everything now. Once I finish it, then you must have this booklet. There are 5 questions. We'll solve it here itself. So with that, whatever, it's not, again, I am saying you, it's not a ज्ञान sort of thing class. तो हम जो भी करेंगे बहुत practical करेंगे. कल जब हम ऐसे भी करेंगे, तो we'll make sure that within the class you improve. हम जब करेंगे तो उसको उसी तरह से करेंगे. So introduction is all about one and only one thing, and that is crux of the case. In the sense, we have to simply say what it is. What it is. Simply. It maintains a structure and flow, that's why, nothing else. Number 2, ethical issues plus dilemma. Now, you need to be careful about it. What I have seen here while correcting the copies, that students are very frequent in using the issues, ethical issues. My point is, if UPSC asks to write ethical issue, right? If UPSC doesn't, and then even then you want to write it, make it better, the part of the brief introduction itself in 1 or 2 sentences is more. The reason is, mind it, you have to complete the paper. Complete the paper. क्योंकि मैं कुछ papers अभी देख रहा हूँ, अब जो आने शुरू हुए हैं. In the month of July तो बहुत ही खराब हालत थी, लेकिन अब जो पेपर आ रहे हैं, मैं देख रहा हूँ कुछ papers तो बहुत ही extraordinary है. In the sense, great amount of clarity. They are able to complete also. And I've asked, since the copy was very clear, so I had a curiosity. यार 3 घंटे में लिखा है कि नहीं? तो उसने कहा कि सर 3:20, 3:25 के आसपास घिंच रही है. No issue for that. अगर अभी इतनी क्लैरिटी के साथ मेंटेन कर रहे हो, तो 15 मिनट तो उस क्लास में, उस प्रेशर में मैनेज हो जाएगा. डोंट वरी फॉर दैट. और ऐसे भी जीएस स्कोर की टेस्ट जनरली देखोगे थोड़ी एग्जॉस्टिव होती है. हम लोग एग्जॉस्टिव बनाते हैं. इससे भी बहुत डेलिबरेटली, बहुत फिलोसफिकल बनाते हैं. डेलिबरेटली. सो विद दैट, थिंकिंग मस्ट बी इन्वॉल्व रादर देन द रोट लर्निंग के उठाया और छाप के चले गए उसमें से. बट एनीवे, सो द पॉइंट इज, यू डोंट नो. मेरे पास कुछ स्टूडेंट है, पूरे इंडिया में कौन कहां कितना लिख रहा होगा किसको पता. It simply means, the point which I'm trying to say, that there are certain students who already set a benchmark. जिसने benchmark set कर दिया है कि साहब हम क्लैरिटी के साथ पेपर कंप्लीट करेंगे. तो आपकी फाइट तो इन्हीं लोगों के साथ होगी ना. इंडिया में कौन कहां होगा किसको पता. आपको भी नहीं पता, हमको भी नहीं पता. But one thing is that now there are students, those who are able to complete the paper. So it's very important, whatever you are doing, paper 1 optional or paper 4 or whatever you say, paper completion is very important. So when you do all kind of things, you need to be careful that time is very important. इसीलिए यहाँ पे number 2, sometimes I have seen that students are writing dilemma. My next point is basically that every problem is not dilemma. You need to understand there is a difference between ethical issue and ethical dilemma. If they haven't asked, don't write, please. Don't waste your time. Second point is a stakeholder. If you have a speed, number 1, every question you don't have to write. आज भी देखेंगे, there are certain questions I'm going to discuss where it's not required. You don't have to write. Fine. But at some point, you should write a stakeholder, because if that case is not moving around any bigger issues or anything, rather, these are stakeholders only. So their interest, claims, etc. are important. Now, if your speed is good, and if you could write one sentence that why you consider someone as a stakeholder, then it's important. It's good. It's good. जैसे आप लिखते हैं ना कि SP is the prime actor in this case, the sole responsibility to solve the problem with the SP. तो अगर एक सेंटेंस लिखते हो तो आपको उस स्टेक होल्डर को आप कंप्लीट कर पा रहे हो. फाइन. योर आंसर विल बी कंप्लीट. If your speed is not enough and you think that call you have to take there itself. If you think that the paper is very exhaustive, and you have to save every single minute, you can escape. लेकिन लगता है कि यार कि पेपर हम उतना लेंदी नहीं है और हम कुछ क्वालिटी और वैल्यू एडिशन कर सकते हैं, प्लीज डू इट. वो भी कर सकते हो. दिस इज व्हाट आई एम सेइंग, दैट इफ द पेपर इज एग्जॉस्टिव एंड यू डोंट हैव टाइम, please just go the symbolic writing, just SP XYZ, and just move ahead. But if the paper is not very exhaustive, why not to do certain value addition? In the sense you write that XYZ is the stakeholder because of this. How do you see it as a stakeholder? Usko tum stakeholder kyun consider kar rahe ho? Just one sentence, not more than that. It will create a value addition. Why I am saying this? Because here is the key. If you see anybody, those who are getting, you can say 130 or 135 kind of marks, this because of the case study. This is my limited experience. In the past also, here this year also, rank 15 was here, and she got 132. So if you look at from the point of view of content, you will see that I can write better than this. But if you look at from the point of completion the paper, you will find that she was good to complete the paper, even then when the paper was very exhaustive. So clarity, justification, analysis, etc. With the clarity, that's it. That's it. And so my limited experience says that these students are able to get marks because of the case study. Case study एक ऐसी जगह है जहाँ पे आपको 70-80% आता है. If in aggregate they are getting some you can say some more than 50% in the sense 60-65%, इसका मतलब है ना कुछ क्वेश्चंस में तो उसको 80% मिला ही होगा ना. यूपीएससी 50-50 करके तो देगी नहीं ना. किसी में 40 आया होगा, किसी में 70 आया होगा, किसी में 70% मार्क्स आए होंगे. It's very simple. So a stakeholder you write, and then you go for you can say the more important options. Now when writing options, what you have to do, you have to take care of the three things which makes any option a complete treatment. It gives a complete treatment. Number one, option means what action you are going to take. This is what is the option. Fine. Number two, when they ask for the merit and demerit, then you explicitly write. If they don't ask, you go for explanation. Why? Why you are considering that option. दो ही ऑप्शन है ना. एक में वो मेरिट एंड डिमेरिट पूछते हैं और कुछ क्वेश्चन में मेरिट डिमेरिट नहीं पूछते हैं. जब मेरिट एंड डिमेरिट पूछते हैं तो आपको मेरिट और डिमेरिट लिखना है. दैट्स इट. वेरी सिंपल. इट्स वेरी सिंपल. If they don't ask merit and demerit, even then you have to write one thing, and that is why. Why this option? So in the further explanation, one paragraph, you have to you can say why this option, and then you have to ensure that your explanation carries the justification. Your explanation carries the justification. In the explanation itself, you are able to convey that these are the point of justification. This is why you are thinking like this. Fine. These are the things when it comes to the options. And then comes conclusion. Here also you will find two kind of questions they ask. The number one, sometimes they don't ask. ज़्यादातर लोगों की problem है आयुष. Ayush is asking that whether we should start with the case study or section A. So it's a very big call for most of the students. Ayush. Conclusion. Now, number one, the first thing first, as far as in writing the format is concerned, conclusion is your execution plan. Conclusion is your execution plan. I repeat, conclusion is your execution plan. Because you are solving a problem, and while solving the problem, without conclusion, everything is you can say zero. Because conclusion is your execution plan. You arrive to a conclusion. Like mathematics, you explore. It's a process. 1, 2, 3, 4, hence proved. हम लोग मैथमेटिक्स करते हैं ना, डिराइव करते हैं ना क्वेश्चन. एक क्वेश्चन की तरह ही डिराइव करना है. जहां पे आप सिर्फ जजमेंट पे कंक्लूजन पे नहीं पढ़ते हैं, आप इवेलुएट करते हैं, आप फॉर्मूला लगाते हैं, आप प्रूव करते हैं और स्टेप्स आप लिखते हैं. वो स्टेप्स की एक सीक्वेंस है और फिर आप प्रूव करते हैं. दिस इज व्हाई दिस आंसर. इट्स अ वेरी सिमिलर टू दैट. That's why I'm using the word decision making process. That is a process 1 2 3 4 5. क्योंकि मैंने देखा प्रीवियस ईयर्स में भी जिन लोगों के मैंने देखे कि यहाँ पे भी केस स्टडी अच्छा था. In the sense, while interacting, I realized that their case study is better. Some or other how they managed to good marks. 110, 115, 120, 122 ऐसे marks उनके आए हैं इस तरह से. So this gives me one experience that case studies in a sense is proving the most crucial thing, number one, and number two, in section A, open-ended question. जो मेरा अपना एक लिमिटेड एक्सपीरियंस है while interacting with the candidates, क्योंकि आप लोग भी लिखेंगे और लिखने के बाद आपके भी मार्क्स आएंगे, आप भी मुझे इवेलुएट करेंगे, मैं भी आपके मार्क्स को इवेलुएट करूंगा. That gives you the learning opportunity. That's it, nothing else. बाकी तो बकवास है, बाकी तो किसी को पता नहीं यूपीएससी के बारे में. भाषण देने के लिए मुझे ही बोलो तो अगर तुम लोग की एग्जाम नहीं हो तो मैं ही 6 घंटे का भाषण दे दूं. एग्जाम है इसलिए आई एम गोइंग वेरी ऑब्जेक्टिव, लेकिन उससे क्या फर्क पड़ता है. Execution plan. So there are two kind of instructions you will find in UPSC. Number one, the first thing, when they don't ask anything, वो कहती है कि what are the options before you and write merit and demerit, that's it and nothing else. Second, you will find that they specifically write what is the best option, best they use, or course of action you will follow, course of action. If you do remember yesterday's session, I always say that please be very careful about UPSC's instruction. So in section A, section B, case study, optional, wherever, please always underline or highlight the instruction. That will alert your subconscious brain that what exactly you have to do. And that is the key of making a specific. क्योंकि देखना हर क्वेश्चन में वो स्पेसिफिक डिमांड है, होता ही होता है. जैसे आप केस स्टडी में भी देखोगे, केस स्टडी में वेरी स्पेसिफिकली दे आस्क यू what is the best option available to you, what is the course of action that you will follow. Course of action simply means that what is your execution plan, in the sense order, that I will do this followed by this because of this. In the sense, what I'm trying to say, that if your UPSC doesn't ask anything, then just 2 or 3 sentences conclusion is enough that I will do to achieve this. That's it. But if UPSC ask specifically, then it is going to be conclusion heavy, bottom heavy. Usme aapko, you need to be a little bit careful about the conclusion, because UPSC is giving a specific emphasis that what is the best और कोर्स ऑफ एक्शन. तो वहां पे उसका इंस्ट्रक्शन है साहब. इंस्ट्रक्शन है मतलब मार्क्स है. इंस्ट्रक्शन नहीं है मतलब कि आप यू कैन से सिर्फ टच एंड गो फॉलो कर सकते हैं, छुआ निकल गए. लेकिन जहां पे इंस्ट्रक्शन है वहां पे आप टच एंड गो नहीं कर सकते. यू हैव टू बी वेरी स्पेसिफिक अकॉर्डिंग टू द इंस्ट्रक्शन. सो एनीवे, so this is what you have to take care always in the mind. What I'm doing here is basically certain case study. बहुत सारे suggestions है विशाल, just wait. What I'm going to do now, we are going to discuss some 3-4 cases here itself, so that whatever we have discussed, let's do it, solve it here itself, fine, and then whatever the doubt, we'll discuss it, fine, it is. And the way I'm giving you certain questions based on the last session, again I'm saying you just go through it, you will touch entire paper means entire paper, entire PYQ means entire PYQ. सिर्फ पढ़ लेना. इसी तरह से आज हम सॉल्व करेंगे. Just give me one more day and then I will give you some, you can say 15 to 20 case studies. यहाँ से अभी से लेके और वहां तक जो भी आप जहां भी टेस्ट दे रहे हो, मॉक दे रहे हो, देते रहो. But you just try to solve it. हम सॉल्व कर रहे हैं. Again I am saying you, it will take 15 to 20 minutes. एक या 2 केस स्टडी को, तो एक 120 मार्क्स के जो फाइन ट्यून है उसको आप करते चल रहे हो. You are just doing this, nothing else. Fine. Similarly, in the case study also, we'll discuss how to create on outline so that you remain relevant. Again, we'll do certain things. We'll give you certain set of questions. You do it. जो सारा दिन का आपका दिनचर्या है, the whole day plan, you please carry that way only. Don't disturb it. Don't disturb it. उसी में से सिर्फ half an hour, 15 मिनट 20 मिनट का स्लॉट निकाल के उसको प्लेस करना, that's it, nothing else. So anything you want to ask here related to you can say the case, structure, etc. Then we will move to the this booklet we'll move to. Yes, please. What's your name? Nikhil. Yes, Nikhil, please go ahead.
Regarding problem only an ethical problem, or it might be any related to law and order, constitutional, legal?
Okay, fine. So the first question, you wanted to ask two questions or one?
Second one is regarding stakeholders. What is the difference between stakeholders' interest and claims?
When I say stakeholders' interest and claims, fine. In the sense, it's not a very stark difference as such. In the sense, you have to simply take care that is there any specific demand. Fine. While taking, you can say, writing or thinking of the option, you have to think for one thing, that whether it is serving the interest of the stakeholder or the genuine interest. So this is what you have to think for. Now, the first question was related to?
Is it only ethical kind of problem or legal type?
See, here the problem is not only the ethical problem. Fine. Problem may be financial also. Problem may be ethical also. Fine. Problem may be legal also. Fine. Problem may be constitutional also. Constitution or legal in the sense that there were questions related to you can say torture in UPSC also. So that's a legal issue. There was a case of a company called Starlight in Tamil Nadu and Maruti also here in Gurgaon. There was some problem and UPSC framed question on that itself. These two problems were related to, you can say, not law and order, rather the developmental issues and the local issues. So they have framed this way also. They have gone to that far. If you look at UPSC has touched the second ARC also. Certain issues highlighted in the second ARC, and they have framed the question on that itself in the case study based on the code of conduct, code of ethics, etc. So saying that these are the only legal or moral issues they ask, not true to say. Not जैसे हमने भी केस अभी बनाया है, इसमें ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ और सिर्फ ethical issue ही है. अभी देखेंगे ना इसको हम लोग. It's not like that. Ethical भी है, legal भी है, character भी है. Means in the sense individual virtue का भी case है वो. What you do in that case. Fine. So this is how you have to think. Saksham is saying that whether we have to highlight the ethical dilemma. I have question Saksham today itself. I have taken one question. So allow me to come there. You will understand how to write ethical dilemma and how to frame or how to read questions. Don't worry for that. Ayitesh is asking how many pages. It's not about pages क्योंकि तुमको ये पता होगा कि तुम्हारा speed और तुम्हारी handwriting कैसी है. So you only you can say. UPSC is playing with the psychology. Last to last year, UPSC did one thing that they have given more and more pages, so that you fall in the trap कि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लिखना है. UPSC से करती है. 3 साल 4 साल पहले उसने स्पेस नहीं दिया, सिर्फ 2 ही पेज दिए. Fine. उसके नेक्स्ट ईयर उसने 4-4 5-5 पेज दे दिए खाली. तुम लिखो अब तुमको जितना मन है. The moment you know these kind of things, you have to be very judicious. You have to be very clever on the spot. क्यों करती है साहब? देखो ना UPSC को 4 साल पहले उसने सिर्फ 2 पेज दिए. You have to write within this space. उसके नेक्स्ट ईयर उसने 4-4 5-5 पेज खाली छोड़ दिया. लिखो तुमको जितना लिखना है. The more you write, more you are in trap. So it's a very judicious call that you have to take. But anyway, let's start now. Fine. One by one, we'll take certain questions. And then on the basis of that, you have this booklet, fine. So please come to question number 3. Please come to question number 3. Question number 3. Question number 3. Fine. Read along with me very quickly. Very quickly, you read along with me. It says, in a quaint Punjab, a town resides Randeep, a 30-year-old orphan facing life's challenges, struggling for basic sustenance. Randeep engages in part-time employment with a real estate company. Unfortunately, his prospects for holding a full-time job are hindered by a drug habit that he grapples with. His association with narcotics has not been without consequences, as he has spent a significant duration behind bars due to possession of drug intended for personal use. It is noteworthy that he never engaged in the sales of the drug or any other criminal activities. Regrettably, Randeep's presence is met with the disapproval by the local community member in his locality. Despite his personal struggle and lack of involvement in criminal enterprise beyond drug possessions, he has found himself in a state of social orchestration. Perturbed by this situation, certain senior figures from the colony have approached you, the police inspector overseeing the area. These community members are urging you to take action against Ratandeep, citing him as a potential threat to the societal fabric. Additionally, the community members have escalated the matter by seeking intervention from local political leaders. The voting potential of this particular community is recognized, adding a layer of complexity in the situation. The impending involvement of political force in addressing Ratandeep's case is anticipated, as it is expected that directives from the political realm may soon influence your course of action. As the police inspector, you can say you find yourself at a crossroad where ethical, legal, and social condition intersects. The decisions you make carries okay, fine. As a police inspector, you find yourself at a crossroad with either legal, social consideration. The decision you may carry implications not just fate, but for the community. Is perception of your commitment to the justice and fairness. Also, navigating this scenario require a careful examination of individual right, community concerns, and ethical responsibility that come to your role in maintaining law and order. Fine. Now, in the given case, discuss the dilemma tangled in the case. The first thing first. Fine. So let's you say how to answer it. It's very clear. So that we can take the corrective measures here itself. What is the dilemma? The first question. Number 1. What are you? Yes, please. What is the dilemma in this case? Answer. What is the dilemma in this case and how to write it? Individual right versus okay. Individual rights versus community. Okay. Anything else? Also, community demand versus fairness. Okay. Political pressure versus integrity. But my point is here. Yes. बताओ आप बताओ आप बताओ. Okay, Gautam is saying means adopted to settle concern versus end goal. Saksham is saying fundamental right of Ratandeep. Professional versus personal ethics. Ayush is saying fine. Means adopted to settle the concern. Societal exclusion versus public order. Rehabilitation versus deterrence justice. Fine. Duty versus humanity. Wonderful. Where I wanted to you can say bring you have raised. In the sense, this is what where I wanted to highlight. This is what you don't have to do. Now, if you look at your answers here also, you will find that in dilemma, what you do, you capture some 4 or 5 points. The number one, dilemma happens because of the absence of the choice. If there is a long list of problem and the issues, it's not a dilemma. It's very simple. So dilemma cannot be more than 2. It cannot be. वो ही नहीं सकता. और अगर है तो वो डिलेमा नहीं है. क्योंकि डिलेमा होती है because of the you can say the absence of the choice. You don't have much choice. You don't have you can say a long list of alternatives. It's pitted against each other, either this side or that side. That's why it's a dilemma. Dilemma happens yesterday also. You might have if you remember, we discussed that dilemma happens because of the close choices. Sometimes it may be right versus right versus wrong. We have discussed, and sometimes it is you can say wrong versus the lesser evil. Lesser evil. So either you choose the lesser evil or you choose the evil. That's the only question. Only question here. So my point number one, why I framed this question here, and today's you can say the theme of the discussion is objectivity. When I am using this word objectivity, because while correcting the copy also, I write or I give this remark, maintain objectivity, or means simply as direct as possible, write as demanded, rather than writing everything. Fine. And there is no reason to you can say write everything. So my point number one here, how you should you can say write here, simply the individual right versus community concern. Fine. Because you have to make tough choice because of this. Political pressure is also the part of it because that is in the favor of the community. So there itself you can write in one paragraph. Number one. Number two, whenever you go for this, there is a general tendency I have seen in the ORN these days that they simply write the symbolic, means individual versus community, community versus political interest or your personal integrity, etc. That's it. No, you have to explain it why you think it is a dilemma. Merely writing the point is not sufficient. So my next point in answer writing is basically that please you write why it is an ethical dilemma and how do you see it. So what you have to do, it's best if you write only one, maximum 2, because beyond that ethical dilemma cannot happen. हो ही नहीं सकता. By concept ही नहीं हो सकता. See, he's very honest. You can say, and that's why I say the very session. ये लेने का Naveen, your name is Nikhil. Sorry, Nikhil is saying that he has a tendency to write 6 to 7 sometime. और निखिल ये आपकी ही प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, ये ओआरएन में क्या हुआ है कि कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट्स की प्रॉब्लम है, हम लोग की प्रॉब्लम है, एंड आई एक्सेप्ट इट. हम लोग की प्रॉब्लम इन द सेंस हम पोडियम पे खड़ा होकर विदाउट रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी कुछ भी बोल देते हैं. हम ये नहीं समझते हैं कि इस पे स्टूडेंट पे क्या इन्फ्लुएंस पड़ेगा, बिकॉज दे कंसिडर यू एज अ फैकल्टी मेंटर. कुछ के लिए एक ट्रांजेक्शनल रिलेशन है कि हमने पैसे दिए हैं और मुझे सर्विस चाहिए, कुछ के लिए ये बहुत रिस्पेक्टफुल एंगेजमेंट है. अलग अलग लोगों के लिए अलग है. हम लोग को भी इतने सिलेक्शंस होते हैं, जैसे यहाँ के इस इलाके का डीसीपी है, वो भी यहीं से है, और बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स हैं जिसमें बहुत लोगों से बहुत अच्छी रिलेशन रह जाते हैं थ्रू आउट कैरियर. कुछ लोगों के सिलेक्शन के बाद वो कहीं और हम लोग कहीं. मैं वैसे इन्वॉल्वमेंट रखता भी नहीं हूँ. आई अवॉइड, एक बार सिलेक्शन हो गई है तो मेरा काम खत्म हो गया वहां के बाद, तो इसलिए मैं सोशल मीडिया पे उनके साथ दिखता भी नहीं हूँ. बट एनीवे, सो निखिल यू आर वेरी ऑनेस्ट इन द सेंस, एंड दिस इज व्हाट दिस सेशन इज बेसिकली, कि उस पॉइंट को हाईलाइट करके हम उसको फिक्स कर दें. सो द वे ही इज सेइंग, दिस इज व्हाट द प्रॉब्लम इज. डिलेमा में मैं 6 या 7 प्रॉब्लम मैंने आइडेंटिफाई किए हैं. आई हैव आइडेंटिफाइड 6 to 7 प्रॉब्लम्स, and these 6 to 7 problems I want to fix it through the case study, so that I can do it here itself. So my point is here, think logically, the dilemma has to be when you can say when the options are not there. That's why it's a dilemma. It's very simple. So here, how you should write here, you should write number 1 in the introduction. You can say you can simply 2 ways to start this. That drug abuse is a very big problem among the youths. Fine. अगर आपके पास कोई डेटा है, आपको लिखने का मन कर रहा है, तो आप लिख दीजिए, no issue for that. Just, and this case is basically about the drug abuse case where a youth is trapped in this, and a police has a responsibility to rescue. That's it. मेरा काम खत्म हो गया. Introduction. So introduction captures the crux, that what is this case is all about, or what is the issue is all about. That's it, nothing else. Again, I'm saying you just to maintain the structure, flow. That's it.
Introduction can be without ethical issue.
Yes, of course, yes. It may not. So he is asking that can we write introduction without ethical issues? Yes, of course, yes. Here itself you can highlight here that that drug abuse case without going into the law and order or ethical issue. That's it. आप दोनों को स्किप करके सिर्फ और प्रॉब्लम और यूथ की और कम्युनिटी को या सोसाइटी को कैसे वीक कर रहा है उसका आप लिख के निकल सकते हैं. दैट्स इट. हमको जाना ही नहीं है उसमें. अगेन आई एम सेइंग यू, इंट्रोडक्शन गिव्स यू अ पैडिंग स्ट्रक्चर, जहां से आप एक फ्लो मेंटेन करते हैं. आपका जो मार्क्स है ना, मार्क्स यहाँ पे सिर्फ और सिर्फ एक जगह है, और वो है ऑप्शंस और ऑप्शन के जस्टिफिकेशन. बिकॉज इट्स मोर अबाउट द मॉरल रीजनिंग. Case study is all about one and only one thing, that is moral reasoning. The moment you understand and evaluate each and everything, it goes 60-70%. And moment you write more and more points without evaluating, without going for justification, moral reasoning, etc., it restricts you within 50%, 40%, 45% के आसपास. वहीं पे कहीं पे देखोगे, जैसे मैं भी इवेल्युएट करता हूं तो कभी 6 देता हूं, कभी 7 देता हूं, कभी 7.5 देता हूं, 8 देता हूं. बहुत कम ही क्वेश्चन में 10 दिया. जहां 10 मैं दे रहा हूं, इसका मतलब है कि वो बहुत एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी है. वो आंसर इन द सेंस एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी सेंस कंप्लीट है. वहां पे उसको कभी किसी भी हालत में 13-14 चले जाएगा. क्योंकि मैं कुछ जब भी इवेल्युएट करता हूं तो आई ऑलवेज ट्राई टू कीप माई सेल्फ 5 to 10% लेस देन यूपीएससी, जो मेरा अपना अनुभव रहा है. अगर यूपीएससी जैसे एसए में भी देखोगे तो एसए में मैं और हिमांशु सर दोनों करते हैं. हिमांशु सर कभी कभी 70 तक चले जाते हैं. आई नेवर क्रॉस 65, क्योंकि मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि अगर 65 मैं दे रहा हूं और कंसिस्टेंटली 3 या 4 में दे दिया हूं, तो उसको 140-150 से नीचे आ नहीं सकता. इट रेयरली हैपेंस. और ऐसे कम से कम 50 से ज्यादा कॉपी अपलोडेड है वेबसाइट पे, जाके देखो, जिसको 150-160 है. नॉट 1 or 2. दिस ईयर ऑल्सो यू विल फाइंड. क्योंकि वो मेरी वजह से नहीं है. यू आर नॉट बिकॉज ऑफ मी. इट सिंपली मीन्स दैट one holds the command over the concept and the expression. That's it. हम उसको सिर्फ वैलिडेट कर रहे हैं कि आप अलग अलग तरह के टेस्ट लिख रहे हैं, तो भी आपका जो एक रिदम है मेंटेन्ड है. It's not like that some topic where you are comfortable, you write very good, and where discomfortable topic comes to you, you expose your weakness. Fine, let's come to the point. So what and how I will frame this first answer. I will simply write that the ethical dilemma is between the individual right and the community concern. Fine. Because being a police officer, I have to take care of both the situations or both the sides. That's why it's a dilemma, ना? क्योंकि हमें ऐसा नहीं कि कम्युनिटी को इग्नोर करेंगे, और हम ऐसा भी नहीं है कि हम रतनदीप को उठा के जेल में डाल देंगे हम. फाइन. बिकॉज इस केस में एक लाइन लिखा हुआ है, देखना कि he never ever sell or he is a victim. फाइन. लेकिन ड्रग्स तो उसके पास हैं, तो इलीगल तो है. So I will write Ratandeep has a right to rehabilitation, means, and support considering his struggle with the addiction. However, the communities is concerned about their safety and social fabric due to his drug habit, and it may influence the other youths also. And so I have to navigate between these two demands, and I will try to fulfill, or I will try to address both the sides, or both the sides of demand, individual or both the concerns, individual concern or Ratandeep's concern also, and this. So once I write this, then I clearly show what is the ethical dilemma. What you want to do, if you wish to write, write. Otherwise, आपको एक paragraph आपको लिखने पड़ेंगे. एक paragraph मतलब 2-3 sentence लिखना पड़ेगा. Why you consider it as a dilemma? As a dilemma. So my point number one, that whenever ethical dilemma comes, you don't have to list the dilemma. Rather, you have to be very specific what exactly is the dilemma. And when you write individual versus this community, then you explain it further what does mean by it. Because once you write individual versus community concern, it's not complete in itself. It is not self-explanatory. So my second point is here that whatever you write, please make sure that you are not leaving anything on the examiner's mercies and discretion. आप एग्जामिनर के डिस्क्रिप्शन और मर्सी पे कुछ मत छोड़िए. जितना सेल्फ एक्सप्लेनेटरी होगा उतना मार्क्स आपको अच्छे मिलेंगे. Fine. So my point number one, this. Now in this question, if you look at now the second point says here is the argument, justification. Why not? So the second question in this itself, it says in this problem statement, is it ethical to take strict action against him? Why not? Because both the side you have to write. So again, your answer please very quickly. In next 1 hour we'll sum up जितने भी चीजें हैं highlight करके. You are writing your main examination. I will not consume much time, though the polity and economy will be little bit longer, क्योंकि उसको हम लोगों ने ऐसा डिजाइन किया है, robust 4 hours सेशन, जहां पे वो आपकी मैक्सिमम चीजें टच कर देंगी, रिवीजन भी करा देगा और एक तरह से आंसर राइटिंग भी हो जाएगी. सो बोथ द थिंग्स विल बी देयर एक्सेप्ट, बट एनीवे, सो लेट्स गो टू द पॉइंट. बताइए साहब, स्ट्रिक्ट एक्शन, व्हाई नॉट स्ट्रिक्ट एक्शन? Why not? My second point, again, I am saying you why I have framed this question, because in case study, always do remember, justification is very important. Unless your every answer moving or answering why factor, you will never ever get edge. It's competitive examination. You have to think that what gives me the edge over the others. Fine. So Sakcham is saying he does not possess, you can say, commercial quantity. Okay, fine. Khushi is saying that he is a victim himself, so one should not. बताओ तो चलो बात कर.
If we take about individual person, then it is to deter himself from taking drugs.
Wonderful. So he is saying that deterrence is important. Otherwise, there is you can say, huh? Exactly.
Actually, because if no action is taken against him, then there might be a erosion of social trust, and it will affect government.
Wonderful. So he is also saying if will not take the decision, then it will you can say affect the, or it will erode the social trust on the police itself, that police is involved and it's not doing. Wonderful. Anyone else? Okay, fine. Wonderful. What's the name? Mohan. Mohan, now you brought me to the point where I wanted to bring. Next point is in the answer writing that I have seen that generally for the justification people are using moral theories, utilitarian, deontology, etc. And a lot of people are doing this time. जैसे मेरे कुछ लोगों से बात हुई तो उन्होंने कहा कि सर कि उसकी कॉपी में देखा या वो इंस्टीट्यूट कर रहा है. So my next point is, please try to understand, you have to make it relevant. For example, in utilitarian, you say taking strict action is utilitarian, is not required to write. Utilitarian approach simply means that highest, you can say, maximum good for maximum people. Here it doesn't serve the purpose of utilitarianism, etc., or deontology or anything. Even if you want to write, you should write if you know, and that is J.S. Mill's punishment approach, in the sense that J.S. Mills says that every wrongdoing is not worthy of punishment. J.S. Mill की जो morality and punishment की जो idea है, he had talked about. Harm principle भी है. Harm principle is basically J.S. Mill की है that there are two kind of actions. One is towards me and towards the others. So if I am not harming anyone, then you can say there should not be any punishment. But here it's not. You can say that is applicable because drug possession itself is illegal. तो हम उसको justify तो नहीं कर सकते. Yes. So my point is here, please. So make sure here that when you write, you give justification. Why I am saying so? Because somewhere in the student's mind, it is ingrained very deeply that you have to justify, and for justification, you use Rabindranath Tagore, you use Gandhi, you use deontology. What I am trying to say, just one thing, that please make sure that you are relevant. Just for the sake of showing the examiner कि मैंने रविंद्रनाथ को पढ़ा है स्पेक्ट्रम में, तो ऐसा नहीं है, क्योंकि उससे ज्यादा तुम पढ़े भी नहीं होती, तुमको भी पता है. तुम गांधी को उतना ही जानते हो जितना स्पेक्ट्रम में लिखा हुआ या किसी कोचिंग के मेटेरियल में लिखा हुआ, क्योंकि ऐसा नहीं है कि तुम पढ़ना नहीं चाहते, तुम्हारे पास टाइम नहीं है. I can understand and everyone understand. तो हर जगह पे उसको डालना जरूरी नहीं है. So make it one thing very where it is relevant. So Abhishek is saying if why not some visible action, fine. See, let's discuss why not. Why you are saying why not? Okay, so he is saying कि पहले तो एक बार जेल जा चुका है, फिर दोबारा क्यों भेजना है उसको? What's the name? Rahul is saying बहुत sympathetic है ये. हाँ? Okay, reformative. Okay, wonderful.
As he has said that he has been jailed, but jail has not helped him.
Reformative. Okay, fine. Now, whenever this question comes to you, why not? Fine. You have to take care of one thing, and that is the consequences and the concern. Which concern you want to serve? If you know that this concern I want to address, then only why not? So in any question where it says why not, the first point you should, the first point that should come to your brain is concern. What concern you want to address? So the next point is this. मैं इस तरह से छोटे-छोटे point highlight करता रहूंगा. Concern. जिस तरह भी जब भी ये आए, you have to think concern कौन सा address करें, which concern I have to address. For example, why? Because of the first point, community safety. So strict action is community safety. And number two, why? Is deterrence. And number three, why? Is prevention. Because removing Ratandeep from the community might prevent the potential spread of the drug uses. Prevention. So if you are very clear about the concern and the point which you want to address, then only you can say why not. So that point should be very clear. कि हमको concern को address करना है. So you talk about the community, right? Number one, either you talk about the deterrence or you can talk about the prevention. Why not? And then comes the why not. In why not, number one, you can say the number one is the rehabilitation. In the sense, give Ratandeep a chance to rehabilitate and we should help to bring him out of this menace. Yes, of course, yes. Ratandeep, fine. Number two, why not? Because of the stigmatization. Harsh measures may stigmatize individuals struggling with the addiction. Yes, exactly. It will become the forework rather than we have to rehabilitate. Fine. Third, if you wish, you can write. If you want to escape, you can escape. Efficacy, in the sense that in these kind of cases, we have a scene where they are not criminal or involved in the drug cases, rather for the self-possession. It has been seen that strict punitive measures are not addressing the core issue. So rehabilitation will serve a better purpose rather than the strict action. My point where I wanted to bring you, एक point मैंने ethical dilemma discuss कर लिया, that how you should write. Now my point is here. Whenever you write why not, you have to just think it one and only one thing, which concern I want to address. सिर्फ इतना दिमाग में रखना. That's it, nothing else. Fine. And then third का छोड़ दो. In what way you can solve the problem or not, just leave it. तो दो पॉइंट हमने इसमें डिस्कस कर लिए हैं. Fine. Question number 5. Yes, please. Yes, please go ahead. If you have question.
But can you introduce the life guidance? I was talking to one teacher and मेरा point ये था सर कि can we go for the legal actions kind of thing, non-ethical. हम ये कर सकते हैं उसको उन्होंने बोला, but your action still should be ethical. It should reflect that it is an ethical action. Is it necessary?
Which one?
जो action course होगा वो ethical ही दिखना चाहिए उसमें. We can follow just the course of action which is required as per the rules and procedures.
He is asking that is it necessary that
every action is ethical.
whether we have to go for the ethical action or not. So you cannot do anything unethical. Ethical means what? Ethical in simply means that you are following a standard principle. That's it. For example, in this case, can you write, I will do nothing? I will ignore Ratandeep also and I will ignore community concern also. Can you write this? If you write this, what purpose it will serve? Then it's unethical. Then it's ethical. So basically, when you solve the problem, it has to be by the ethical means itself. And number one, whenever you can say the legality is involved, you cannot completely ignore it. For example, now Aniket is saying, sir, is saying that in some drug abuse case, some individuals are given drug as medicine if it is necessary for them. So Aniket, don't we unnecessarily, you can say, innovative. कि अब हम रतनदीप को थोड़ा सा ड्रग रखने देंगे, थोड़ा सा ड्रग देंगे, not required. होते हैं रिहैबिलिटेशन के केसेस में ऐसे होते हैं कि उसको बहुत धीरे धीरे बाहर निकाला जाता है. It happens. Yeah, not at sudden. So it's not required. So you please don't write what is not asked. So Ayush is saying probably Ayush, your problem is very genuine. He's saying that most of the toppers copy. I have seen that they write option by taking transfer and leave the matter. Is it good to write? Ayush, it's an extreme option. You will have to go case by case. This is what I said in the beginning itself. He is asking कि ज्यादा टॉपिक कॉपी में लिखा हुआ रहता है कि हमें ट्रांसफर ले लूंगा. For example, in this case also, Ayush, let's take the example of this case itself. This case itself. Can you write, I will take transfer, I will do nothing? What purpose it will serve? What purpose it will serve? Yeah. Fine. So the point is basically you see. I don't know whether I should speak or not. This is the reason that you will see that generally I avoid discussion with the toppers. मैं डाइस एक बार सिलेक्शन हो गया आपका, क्योंकि मुझे पता है ना, उन लोगों से इंटरेक्ट करता हूं तो मुझे भी तो बहुत पता है ना कि उनका जो हुआ है और जिनका नहीं हुआ, ऐसा नहीं है कि उसमें मेरिट नहीं. आपके फेवर में एक कॉम्बिनेशन चली गई है जहां पे आपने इंटरव्यू में भी अच्छा कर लिया, आपने बाकी पेपर में भी कर लिया. कुछ लोगों का एक पेपर खराब हो गया, मान लीजिए कि जैसे किसी का ऑप्शन खराब हो जाता है, एंड इट हैपेंस. कभी यूपीएससी भी डेलिब्रेट कर देती है, करती है ना साहब, एक ऑप्शन नीचे चला गया, एक ऑप्शन अच्छा परफॉर्म कर रहा है. इट डज नॉट मीन that I am less meritorious. Number one. Number two, those who are selected even then don't know how they are selected. Until a result comes and very next day they become the baba of the YouTuber and social media. तो इसलिए बहुत ज्यादा सीखने की जरूरत नहीं है उसमें से, आयुष उतना ही सीखना चाहिए जहां पे हो. Number two, extreme positions आप ले सकते हैं if it serves the purpose. Again, I am saying you that extreme position you can take only when it serves the purpose. For example, in this case, extreme position doesn't serve. In the sense, you cannot say that I will take a transfer and I will don't do. For what you will get the marks. And my next very important point, you can say, you see the marks of the toppers also. You will find that very pathetic marks. उनका selection एक aggregate marks के कारण हुआ. ऐसा नहीं है कि सबके पेपर 4 में 130 है. 90 भी है, इसी साल देख लो ना, क्योंकि उनका इंटरव्यू में 190, 195, 200 है तो कंपनसेट हो गया. ऑप्शनल में 302 है तो इकोनॉमी में नीचे आया तो वो कंपनसेट हो गया. ऐसा नहीं है कि वो हर जगह पे बहुत अच्छे ही है. एग्रीगेट में कुछ एरियाज में उनको लेवरेज मिल गया है 40, 50, 60 मार्क्स का. तो यू नीड टू बी लिटिल बिट केयरफुल अबाउट इट, एंड दैट्स इट, नथिंग एल्स. Prajot, we'll talk. Fine, you have my number. Fine. हाँ बता ना. Yes, of course, yes. Yes, of course, yes. Of course, yes. No issue for that. क्योंकि आप पुलिस ऑफिसर है ना. So what you are saying, Rahul, that in any case you have to be in the case of the police officer. You cannot say that I will act in this case as an individual, not as an police officer. पुलिस ऑफिसर तो आप पुलिस ऑफिसर की हैसियत से जो इंडिविजुअली करना चाहते हो लिखो ना उसमें. आप उसको अपने घर तो नहीं ले जाओगे ना, ले जाना चाहते हो. नहीं, ऐसे बहुत सारे दयालु हैं जिनका आंसर देखता हूं मैं, जिसमें केसेस हैं इस तरह के कि भाई प्रॉब्लम का है, पेंशन का है, एटसेट्रा, तो कहते हैं कि मैं अपने पॉकेट से पैसा दे के वो हेल्प करूंगा. ऐसे भी आंसर्स आते हैं. बट एनीवे, लेट्स कम टू द पॉइंट. Quickly, let's come to the question number 5. I have created 5 questions. All the 5 questions, exactly, I want to discuss 5-6 different elements that you have to take care in the option. That's it. This was the reason. So, very quickly, you can read along with me. Question number 5, and then we'll discuss the options. Question number 5. As a civil servant, you are stationed in a region characterized by its diverse multicultural and multi-identity population, comprising a dominant majority group and a significant minority community. In this complex socio-cultural milieu, you can say a contentious issue has emerged, centering around the allocation of a space for installation of a statue dedicated to respective cultural icon. Both the majority and minority group assert their right to claim the same space for these monuments, creating a potential explosive situation. Okay, a proactive and prompt solution of this issue became imperative, as historical precedents suggest that any non-challenged approach or delay could potentially ignite significant conflicts. The looming election have further intensified the atmosphere, with various interest groups seeking the capitalize of this tension. Not only must you address the immediate dispute and facilitate an equitable solution, but you must also manage the intricate interplay to cultural, political, and social dynamics. The impending election amplify the urgency of your actions, as the outcome has potential to influence the political landscape and further shape the relation between these diverse communities. Navigating this intricate scenario demand an astute understanding of the cultural, sensitive, and historical understanding at play, balancing the right of both the majority and minority group while ensuring that no community feels marginalized is essential. Your role encompasses XYZ, and the given situation, there are 3 questions. Fine. Number 1, if you look at this case, पढ़ लो आराम से पढ़ लो. Fine. If you look at this case can be framed in just 3 to 4 sentences. This is how we make unnecessarily lengthy. देख रहे हो इसमें काम की चीजें बहुत चाह रही हैं, इसलिए मैंने कहा कि आपको while reading you have to highlight 4 things so that you understand. बाकी फालतू चीजें ignore. You don't have to revisit. जहां पे लगता है कि superficially unnecessarily detailing है, you don't have to go in unnecessarily detailing. जैसे केस उसमें देखना कि यूपीएससी में हमेशा कुछ ना कुछ इमोशनल कंपोनेंट वो लेके आते हैं. तुम्हारी माँ बीमार है, तुम इकलौता कमाने वाले हो. अरे यार एक लाइन में लिखो ना फाइनेंशियल इमरजेंसी है या आई एम द सोल ब्रेड अर्नर, दैट्स इट. लेकिन वो पूरी डिटेलिंग करती है. आपके फादर की नौकरी छूट गई है, and you are also supporting to your younger siblings and also please take care of that. But anyway, so in this case, see, my next point is there are 2 kinds of questions. Fine. One requires mop it, one requires stop it. But I have placed both the things here, where in many questions you will find that there are mop it in the sense what you have to do is after the consequences, means you have to deal with the consequences. And another is stop it in the sense you need to intervene. So there are 2 kinds of things. Early intervention may prevent, and then you cannot do anything, but you have to deal with the consequences. So one needs to be very careful about what situation you are talking about. तुम मॉप इट के सिचुएशन में हो या स्टॉप इट के सिचुएशन में हो. मॉप इट के सिचुएशन में हो तो सिर्फ और सिर्फ तुम डैमेज को मिनिमाइज कर सकते हो, बिकॉज consequences is done, damage is done. So the question is, wherever these kind of things are there, then immediately you have to see how we can reduce the consequences. ठीक उसी तरह से जैसे पानी गिर गई है, अब उनको पोछा लगाना है, हमको यही देखना भाई अब गिर गया पानी, अब उसमें प्रिवेंशन नहीं हो सकता. The only thing is ज्यादा से ज्यादा चीजें ना भीगे, यही करोगे ना, यही करोगे. This is what you need to think about. Now let's come to this point. Here it talks about what preventive step you will take to stop flare up of a brewing dispute. Now whenever these kind of things are there, पहले हम लोगों ने क्या बात किया, concern. अब concern नहीं करना है. Next set of questions are there where you have to deal with the consequences. So whatever you do, it should address certain consequences. It deals with the consequences. It has. So in your answer, the consequences is very important rather than simply the concern. So next set of questions you will find that it talks about how to deal with the consequences. इसका consequences तो explanation में consequences आएंगे. For example, in this question, number 1, first point when it says preventing steps, I will write that you can say engage in open dialogue, or you can say establish a mediation committee. Now, why? The reason is, always do remember, anything related to the conflict comes to you. Conflict. In the conflict resolution, the first and the foremost thing is basically negotiate, negotiate, and negotiate. This is the one and the fundamental problem of conflict resolution. जहां भी होगा, पहला issue ये होगा, negotiate, negotiate, and negotiate. Only negotiate, just to make a ground or a space for reconciliation. This is why mediation. तो पहला ही होगा. तो जब मैं ये लिखूंगा तो consequences क्या है? Consequences यहाँ पे मैं achieve करना चाह रहा हूँ just to create a space for reconciliation. And that's why either you write open dialogue or you use the word mediation, whatever word you use. But it's basically that what exactly you want to achieve. Consequences क्या होंगे उसके? तो जो consequences होंगे उसके हिसाब से आपको देखने पड़ेंगे. Fine. Yes. लिख सकते हैं, आप लिख सकते हैं, व्हाट्स योर नेम? सक्षम लिख सकते हो, कोई इशू नहीं है, डोंट वरी फॉर दैट. इस कि क्या इंट्रोडक्शन में हम consequences वगैरह लिख सकते हैं, आप लिख सकते हैं. अगेन आई एम सेइंग यू देयर इज नो फिक्स रूल. एक फ्रेमवर्क में रहो, अननेसेसरली मत लिखो चीजों को. नंबर 1. नंबर 2, आई विल इंश्योर द स्ट्रॉन्ग प्रेजेंस ऑफ द फोर्स. प्रिवेंटिव मेजर्स में. व्हाई? Because it clearly gives the message to the miscreants, and it has a potential message to the miscreants that administration is tough on the issue. Fine. You might have seen deployment. Flag march होता है ना? क्यों होता है flag march? वो message है to the miscreants also and to the community also that आ गए हैं, हम लोग हैं, we'll take care. करती है ना, सिर्फ घूमती है शहर में, देखे होंगे जब बहुत सेंसिटिव टाइम होता तो वो ट्रैक में बैठ के जिप्सी उप्सी में घुमा के लाल झंडा गाड़ के और वो एक राउंड मार के आ गए कि आ गए हम लोग हैं, हम चिंता मत करो, अब करो फिर तुमको बताते हैं. फाइन. बट एनीवे, सो द क्वेश्चन इज हियर, व्हाट यू वांट टू अचीव, what you want to achieve. So whenever you write here, you need to include consequences in that paragraph, so that it clearly indicates the examination that what you want to achieve out of it. My next point is what you want to achieve out of it. Fine. Second, I have created in this question, if the dispute flare up, then what to do? What would be your quick measure? Fine. Number 1, that's why I said the damage is done. We have to minimize to flare up. Fine. अब आपके जो भी आंसर होंगे वो immediate के होने चाहिए. The point which I am trying to say, you cannot write long-term measures. No, not at all. You have to take care of one thing in the answer writing: what is important and what is urgent. Urgent is always time sensitive. Urgent is always time sensitive. So whatever it is time sensitive, you have to do it now. So whatever you write it now. Do it, which is immediately, which is doable. For example, always you will write that you can say deploy more and more forces. Fine. Pick the miscreants. Fine. Third, stop, you can say spreading the you can say the noise, or you can say break the communication channel. Yes, restrict the movement. So हम सिर्फ section 44 हम नहीं बोलेंगे, हमको लिखना पड़ेगा. You will have to write That 144, section 144, because to restrict the movement so that damage or less and less damage happens. Less and less damage happens. So that police or administration can easily control and operate the situation. Operate in that situation. That's where I wanted to bring in this session. That please try to understand here that it's very important that whatever you write, why, consequences, justification, reasoning, etc. And it's just matter of one sentence, just one sentence. This is where I wanted to bring you. It does not mean I am saying that you have to write for one paragraph or two paragraphs. No, just one sentence will make all the difference. Just one sentence. From 40% to 60% marks. Because you are clearly giving the examiner that you understand very well. And it's a self-explanatory. For example, here you cannot write, I will take strict action. And strict action means what? Against whom? It's ambiguous. You cannot afford to write these kind of things. Ambiguous nahi ho sakti. Please try to understand. Case study mein ambiguous nahi ho sakti because it's all about problem solving. Problem solving cannot be ambiguous and vague. It has to be in black and white. ठंड लग रही है बाहर से बोला इसको किसी को बोला प्रियंका बाहर से किसी को बोला हाँ कहा ना लिखा ना मीडिएशन कमेटी लिखा तो हम मीडिएशन या ओपन डायलॉग तो किससे करेंगे डिस्प्यूट के बाद पहले कंट्रोल तो कर लो. This is what I am saying. Long term measures आपको बाद में जाना है. You have to do it now. तो एसी बंद करा रहे तो सब चादर उधर ओढ़ लिया है यहाँ पे. Fine. Let's come to the point number 3. सोनू एक मिनट देखना वॉइस आ रही है कि नहीं. कुछ स्टूडेंट करे लॉस्ट द वॉइस. ओके फाइन. गौतम लेट मी चेक. विशाल अमित fine. Ajitesh. ठीक है Ajitesh. Don't worry. Yes, please go ahead. Thanks Abhishek. He is saying audible. Yes, you want to say something. इससे पहले भी वहाँ पे जो इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स पे हैं उन्होंने बात की दोनों कम्युनिटी ग्रुप फिर भी वो वॉइस हुई वहाँ पे तो इसका मतलब उनके जो टॉक्स हैं वो नहीं people का हाँ बिल्कुल ऐसे क्या मैसेज होंगे इसको इंश्योर करें कि जो बातें हैं वो इसके अकॉर्डिंगली चलें. मेडिटेशन कमिटी हो सकती है उसमें. दूसरा ये भी हो सकता है कि when you are saying that if the dialogue fails then what to do if not then even you can write here that administration will take that land in their own possession till the dispute is resolved. This is resolved. वो तो मैंने जानबूझ के लिखा ना उसमें जितना फंसा सकते हैं फंसा रहे हैं हम. So that ये हमने जब केस बनाया तो जब मैं केस स्टडी या कोई भी क्वेश्चन बनाता हूँ जैसे इस बार का के पेपर जितना भी मैंने बनाया the first thing first I want to ask myself what I want to test whether it serves the purpose of the students or not. If it doesn't serve merely giving some question will not serve the person. तो रखा हुआ ना ऑलरेडी टेलीग्राम पे किताब दुकान पे फोटो को PDF में. तो ये जो कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी है ना केस में हमेशा देखोगे इट क्रिएट्स नॉइज. It's create noise, and that's why I said in the beginning itself that you need to be very careful, very alert while reading the problem statement, that you cut the noise, that you are focused on certain things, that this is what the case is. Election due है होगा हमको क्या मतलब है. अब जो इसमें लग जाएगा कि that since the election is due so I will talk to the politician also, वो फंस गया. फालतू की चीज लिख रहा है. वो प्रॉब्लम इलेक्शन है ही नहीं इसमें. Yes. दोनों का claim problem है. Both the groups are making certain claim. That's the problem. So you focus in and around, and that's why I am saying that whenever you write, please make your answers black and white as possible, as black and white as possible. Ajitesh is saying, don't we have to deal with the political complexity? No, not at all. Not at all, Ajitesh. It's simply, this is what Rahul is also saying, that it's simply written that election is due. Let it be. Let it be. It's not written that election is announced and model code of conduct is already enforced. It's not written like that. It's simply saying that it simply means political motives are there to flare up. It simply means to flare up. So you have to take care of these preventive measures, that there should not be, you can say, rumor mongering. So as far as rumor mongering is concerned, Ajitesh, you can take care. But as far as political complexity, election XYZ is concerned, don't bother about, because it is not directly part of it. Some issues, important issues, but in periphery. So in answer, in the case study, Ajitesh, you have to take care. Ajitesh, Vishal is there. So my issue is, the point which I wanted to highlight, and Rahul is also asking the same question here in the class, that you need to take care of the core and periphery. That always you have to focus for the core issue rather than the periphery. In the explanation, you can say touch the periphery, that it's election is there, and so political motive may be there to flare up the issue, and so we need to take the tough measures to stop the rumor mongering, etc. That's it, nothing else. Just one or two sentences are enough to take care of the peripheral concern. Otherwise, in the entire 250 marks, it has to be very objective, and that's why very deliberately, very, you can say, after deep thinking, I have kept this thing objectivity, not left and right, because case study doesn't allow you to go left and right. Right. So let's come to you can say in this question itself, point number 3. Third question, it says, how do you react when failure to preempt and contain such a situation lead to your suspension? Now it is third assumption it is giving, that when it is a tough situation थी, फ्लेयर अप हो गया और आप सस्पेंड हो गए, सस्पेंशन में आप क्या करेंगे? नाउ व्हाट यू विल डू, टेल मी. एक्सेप्ट तो करना ही पड़ेगा ना. so he is saying that I will accept. He is very innocently writing the answer. ठीक है, okay, answer it. Okay.
From the situation that in further cases that if in future such cases happen, I can deal with it better.
Anyone else? Okay. Tell me.
I can expect the senior officers that whatever the reports I taken on my.
Okay. So he is saying that he will what's the name? Ashwin is saying that he will look at the seniors for their help, for their assistance. Means you will give his point. Now, my point number 3, that in any case, you can say, when you write, I will apply emotional intelligence or anything. These are the cases, whenever the cases, mostly the cases are of the emotional competence. I repeat my sentence, that always whenever you find that the case is of conflicting nature, where the conflicts are there, where too much of dilemma is tangled, then always do remember my next point, that emotional competence is involved. Emotional competence simply means that you respond rather than the react. For example, here, you cannot say that I will go to CAT. Administrative tribunal में चले जाऊंगा. No, I will explain my point that this is not my fault. You cannot write there. This is reaction. You have to respond. So you have to, whenever any conflict type of question comes to you, always do remember, you have to respond. It's a case of moral competence. Sorry, it's a case of emotional competency rather than anything else. And there you have to respond. For example, number 1, I will accept and do a self-reflection. Do a self-reflection. Fine. Or you can say, I will accept the accountability and do the self reflection, or I will, you can say, accept the accountability, but I will put my point that I have done my best. Administration was on alert, but the question is here that you accept, and whatever you do it with the grace. So in your writing, no word should reflect where it is the examiner that you are talking or you are making any sort of reaction. Fine. It can be, as he said, learn and improve in the future. Fine. So my point here was basically to make just one and only one point, and that here.
So when he wait for till the time they came, he waited for that. He wasn't something other one. But after 6 months, everything comes, whatever comes right, it comes into place. So waiting for the patients.
होते हैं cases हैं. Khushi is saying, can I use social media? What does mean by use social media? What you want to use and how you want to use social media? Question number 4, last question. What does mean by it, Khushi? Social media? I'm not able to understand it. Let's come to the question number 4. Question number 4, last question. Question number 4, very quickly with me. You hold the critical position of leading a disaster management team interested with a monumental task of rescuing and rehabilitating a vast number of individuals impacted by an unprecedented flood. Your dedicated team comprises professionals from various fields, including revenue officials, doctors, engineers, and security personnel, all united in their commitment to alleviate the suffering caused by the catastrophe. Amid this ancient humanitarian mission, a challenging aspect emerges. Certain local leaders belonging to a political party express dissatisfaction primarily because the relief effort do not align with their personal interest, while the primary focus remains on aiding the flood-affected populace. These political figures, however, differing motive complicated the already complex scenario. Okay. The situation further intensified with the arrival of a formidable government minister who undertakes a first-hand evaluation. During this assessment, the minister crosses the path with the dissatisfaction local politician. In a surprising turn of the event, the minister announces the suspension of the 2 revenue officials, a move that sent ripples through your disaster management team. The consequences of this announcement is a palpable decline in the team morale. The atmosphere of uncertainty and demoralization cast a shadow over the workforce willingness to continue their effort in the face of adversity. The effectiveness of your disaster management endeavor hang in the balance as your dedicated team members grapple with the doubt and concerns. The decision you make in this critical juncture will shape not only the outcome of your disaster management effort, but also the reputation of your team and your ability to navigate intricate social political landscape during emergencies. Fine. What are the options before you? And evaluate merit and demerit. So you don't have to write first option, then you go for merit and demerit. वहीं पे लिख दो option, उसी के नीचे merit and demerit. You will save your time.
So I think last year, in most of the question they have it like they ask about maybe the first question part A, write about the options. And in some question, what they did is that they skip the second part. The question will be in the C question. They ask write about the merits about your option. I did the same thing, but I don't know if it has affected my marks or not.
It will not affect your mark.
Because I write down like this, answer A and C.
No, no, no. You cannot write like this. That you cannot do. या तो ABC के फॉर्मेट में जाओ, फाइन, क्वेश्चन A, क्वेश्चन B, क्वेश्चन C, और अगर सिर्फ आप मेरिट में डिमेरिट पूछा तो वहीं पे लिख दो. If there are 4-5 demands, then A, B, C, D. If there are only merit and demerits, then you exhaust your option there itself. Both the cases.
Question A in first page and question B in second or third page.
तो अलग अलग लिखो, वही तो मैं कह रहा हूँ. This is what I am saying. That if they have asked only for merit and demerit, then exhaust everything there itself. If there are 4-5 things they have asked, then you have to deal with that option 1, 2, 3, 4 or question number 1, 2, 3, 4, because accordingly they allocate the marks. Accordingly they allocate the marks. अगर वो 4 चीजें पूछे हैं तो उनका इंटरनल एलोकेशन होगा ही होगा उन 4 चीजों के बारे में. What is the allocation we don't know, but it has to be. But anyway, so let's come to the next point. So here is the question of the merit and demerit. Now first we talked about the dilemma, then we talked about the justification, why not, concern, what do you call it, then we move to you can say the consequences. Now the merit and demerit. Always do remember, merit simply means that it helps you to achieve certain things. Demerit is certain things which limits your options, and there is a restriction for it. For example, what are the options here to you? Tell me. Question number 4.
Go with the flow, like if they are suspended, then we continue with the other team members.
Okay, you will continue with the other team members. So fine.
Merit is that it will help to go in the flow, go in good interaction with the basically the political leadership. It will not affect.
Okay, let me put it like this. Point. So point number 1, you are saying number 1, continue. Number 2, बताओ. What are the points?
We consider.
Okay, so you are saying that discuss with politician. Number 3,
Taking in writing what the political leaders are saying.
Okay. Take in writing. Fine. 4, tell me. बताओ point बताते चलो.
So maybe
Persuasion, engagement with the political leader, take a stand against the decision, as they says, against the decision, against the decision. Persuasion and negotiation. Okay. Anyone else? बताओ. Fine.
taking support of the local, the affected people, that they ask leadership, that these people are.
Okay, fine. What is your objective in this case? Saving life. What is your objective in this case? What do you want to achieve? What do you want to achieve in this case?
Basically, that we want to manage the disaster.
Here you have 2 objectives. One is this, and second is team motivation. Fine. This case is a very typical case of your leadership skill, leadership quality. Fine. Now, why I'm saying this? Because in the beginning itself, I had told you, if you remember, that please highlight the objective, that what you want to achieve. Exactly. So the moment you highlight that what is my objective in the case, then what happens that it saves your listing of these options, and some of the listing, it restricts to objectivity. It saves you from wasting the words. For example, you can say against this or persuasion, negotiation. You know what my purpose will serve. For example, some says continue. Why? Because it's basically helps to save the life. Merit, because this is the objective. This is the duty that has been assigned to you. What is the demerit? Because it's limit that this option I will not take. क्योंकि अगर हम सिर्फ कंटिन्यू करते हैं, बाकी चीजों को छोड़ देते हैं, my team will still remain demotivated. And as a team lead, this is my responsibility to take care of the team's concerns, especially in these kind of things. This is what the limitation. So limitation, demerit simply means limitation. It may be administrative, it may be resources, it may be anything else. So always do remember. Now, my next point. When you have to write merit and demerit, please don't write some 4 or 5 points of merit and 4 or 5 points of demerit. If you do so, you cannot complete the paper.
It's the last time.
कितना लिख के आए थे, कितना मेरिट?
I used to think about at least 4 to 5.
5 मेरिट और 5 डिमेरिट.
Not at least one thing should be for around 4 merits. And
तो ऐसे में तो पेपर कंप्लीट करने में दिक्कत होगी.
I complete paper somehow, but marks are not good.
कितने मार्क्स थे लास्ट ईयर? 88. एक्चुअली क्या हुआ है ना, निखिल, आई एम कमिंग टू दिस पॉइंट. Somewhere I don't know how it is percolated among the students that writing more and more points will fetch marks. For example, essay also writing more and more dimension will fetch marks. So somewhere thinking, clarity, analysis, etc. has taken a backseat. वो कहीं न कहीं चला गया. जैसे एक लड़की है, उसका मार्क्स लास्ट ईयर 140 है ऐसे में, उसकी कॉपी में तुम्हें एक चीज मिल जाएगी, शी इज वेरी गुड इन एनालिसिस. कंटेंट तुमको लगेगा कि हम इससे अच्छे हैं, हो सकता है वो मेंटेन की हो, एग्जैक्टली उसको भी नहीं पता क्या लिखी, क्योंकि फ्लो में तो आप लिख रहे होते हैं, उसको तो खुद भी याद नहीं होता है. एक बार आपने सर झुकाया तो 3 घंटे के बाद ही उठेगा वो, तो आधा तो खुद नहीं पता होता कि क्या लिख के आए हैं. ये पता होता है कि ये चीजें कर दिया हमने, लिख दिया. बट एनीवे, लेट्स कम टू द पॉइंट. सो हियर पॉइंट नंबर 1. Then what you will do next? Tell me. Next option. Prajwat saying need the team members to assure, motivate them. Fine. Let's say if someone asks, motivate team members. What is the merit and demerit? Number 1, when my next point is, whenever any question comes to you with the merit and demerit, make sure that it talks about very straightforward about the two things, action and consequences. जब भी मेरिट और डिमेरिट होगी ना, आप जब तक एक्शन बहुत क्लैरिटी के साथ लिख सकते हैं, जैसे लिखा हुआ है, किसी ने कहा मोटिवेट द टीम मेंबर्स, नो नॉट एट ऑल. एक्शन वेरी वेरी वेग नहीं हो सकता. हाउ टू मोटिवेट? मोटिवेट मैंने कैसे? आप मोटिवेशन उनका किस लिए है? क्योंकि वो डिमोलाइज इसलिए सस्पेंशन हो गया ना साहब. तो ऐसा तो है नहीं कि आप कहेंगे तो सस्पेंशन वापस हो जाएगा. मिनिस्टर ने सस्पेंड किया है ना. Okay, so you are saying, he is saying that confront. Challenge means confront the politician. No, you should not. It's a better language is here that I will apprise, or you can say talk to the minister and apprise about the ground realities. As he said, अभी क्लास में किसी ने कहा था कि ground reality के बारे में मिनिस्टर को बताइए कि साहब this is the ground reality. So my point is here, whenever you write merit, demerit, number 1, it has to be very, very solid action, talks about the consequences. Demerit is talking about the limitations of this. Limitation towards what? Limitation towards the objective. And that's why I am saying objective achieve करने नहीं दे रहा है, तभी तो demerit है ना साहब. That's why in the beginning I told you that if you highlight the objective and if you are very clear, then you know that this because of this limitation I'm not able to achieve the objective. That's why it's a demerit. So it brings the clarity in the explanation. वो आपके आंसर को बहुत ही ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट में क्लियर बना देता है. It makes everything very, very clear. Nothing else. This is where I wanted to bring you all that in the case study, you please take care of these small things. That's it, nothing else. Don't go for too many points. Rather, action, consequences, reason, justification, etc. should be very, very clear that I will do this to achieve this. Achieve this. जैसे अभी इन्होंने he is very candid and honest to accept कि उन्होंने ethical dilemma में भी 4.5 मिले, अभी भी लिख रहे हो, खूब लिख रहे हैं. एक स्टूडेंट है जो लास्ट टाइम मेंस दिया था, इस बार भी लिखा, उसको मैंने बुलाया. हमने कहा कि यार कि तुम ये 5-6 जो डिलेमा लिख रहे हो, क्यों लिख रहे हो इतना? पेपर ही कंप्लीट नहीं कर पाओगे. पहला तो चलो छोड़ दो, हटाओ, क्वालिटी पे हम बाद में आएंगे. ऐसे में तो पेपर कंप्लीट करने में ही प्रॉब्लम है. दूसरा बहुत फंडामेंटल है. There are certain things which is very fundamental. You don't have to go with the topper, coaching institute, etc. Dilemma happens when there are no choices. It's as simple as anything. Or you can say very, very competing choices. Competing choices. That's why it's a dilemma. Competing choices. Competing choices is a more appropriate word. But anyway, so my final submission in this session in the case study is number one, that whenever if you can spare some time now, start giving 10 to 15 minutes on daily basis or alternate or regular basis to read the problem statement rather than solving it. And after reading, you just find out what makes your answer objective. That's it. The way you do brainstorming in, you can say, this paper, essay paper, similarly, if you do, you can say PYQ with this mindset, just going through it, how to read the problem statement and how to find the objective options. So objectivity and just 10 minutes daily. जब भी time मिला, दो तीन कर रहे हैं. Again, I am saying you at this point of time, what is required is basically to, you can say, little bit do some corrections so that you fix the things here. क्योंकि जो आपका यहाँ पे ट्रेन होगा वहीं पे आप एग्जाम में वही परफॉर्म करेंगे. सोच तो आप सकते नहीं है, बिकॉज इट्स नॉट अलाउड. 6-7 मिनट में आपको हर चीजें लिखने सोचने का टाइम ही नहीं मिलता है. क्या सोचेंगे आप? सोचेंगे तो क्वेश्चन छूट जाती है, क्वेश्चन सूझ जाती है. सो इट्स बेसिकली अबाउट द रिफ्लेक्शन. So my point is here, what I am trying to say is basically do some reflective exercise so that your response, your reflection increases. You train your brain to behave in certain way. जो भी करेक्टिव मेजर्स लिखना है, इसके लिए आपको डेली टेस्ट लिखने का या कहीं ज्वाइन करने की जरूरत नहीं है. जस्ट टेक द करेक्टिव मेजर्स which is very easy, doable, doesn't take much time, doesn't much time. That's it. इतना ही करना है. इतना करके 2-3 दिन कर लो, उसके बाद एक टेस्ट लिखो, देखो इंप्रूवमेंट होगा, डेफिनेटली होगा. इट हैज टू बी ऑन द रियल टाइम. It's not about daily writing, and that's why the point where I wanted to bring you from the yesterday session, that please spare some time to think and correct rather than to write and correct. So that's my conclusion. Think and correct rather than write and correct. Execute it. In any case, you have to execute, so that you can understand whatever you are thinking, are you able to execute it or not? But not at the cost of the thinking. कि हम वहां पे एक रिफ्लेक्शन के लिए हम कुछ कर ही नहीं रहे हैं, सिर्फ टेस्ट लिख रहे हैं. मार्केट में अवेलेबल है, इसका टेस्ट उठा लिया, उसका टेस्ट उठा लिया, या कहीं उसका कोई फायदा नहीं, उसका कोई फायदा नहीं. क्योंकि मैं तो कॉपी करेक्शन में इन्वॉल्व रहता हूँ, और जिस करूँ तो फैकल्टी बहुत मैसिवली इन्वॉल्व रहता है. वी आर नोन फॉर द मेंटरशिप इटसेल्फ. मुझे अभी इंटरेस्टिंग हुआ, कल एक लड़की तमिलनाडु से फोन की, तो उसने फोन करके बड़ी अजीब से कहा कि सर, एथिक्स सर बोल रहे हैं. हम बोले यार ये कौन सर होता है एथिक्स? तो हमने कहा कि टू whom you want to talk? I said मनोज सर. तो हमने उनसे पूछा from where you get my number? So she said कि सर मैंने अपने कॉपी में लिखा हुआ था कि I want the you can say evaluators number. तो जब मैं करेक्ट कर रहा था तो मैंने देखा, तो मैं उसको मार करके ना गोल घेर के मैंने अपना नंबर लिख दिया. So she called me. So she wanted to discuss with me certain things. होता क्या है कि इन सब सारी चीजों में ठीक है, आधे टाइम तो यही नहीं पता होता है किसी को कि उसका कॉपी करेक्ट कौन कर रहा है, कॉपी क्वेश्चन कौन सेट किया है, आंसर कौन सेट कर रहा है. तो बहुत गैप है ना, मिसमैच हो जाती है, मिसमैच हो जाती है कि जैसे इसने कल इतना सारा कॉपी दे दिया मुझे कि डिस्कस करना है. हमने कहा इसको पहले पढ़ तो ले हम. अचानक से तुम पूछोगे तो उतना तो याद ही नहीं होगा ना मुझे. एक बार पढ़ ले so that I can answer your queries. But anyway, if you have any queries, then we'll close this session. So my point is, number one, here, just in the case study is simply one and only one, that you need to be very clear about the problem. We don't have to hook in the peripheral issue, emotions, etc. Fine. Number two, that be clear about the different interest group, claim, etc. Third most important aspect, which I have seen that missing in 99% of the copies, is constraint. They hardly take care of the constraint, whether it is time constraint or resource constraint. There are certain constraints. There are certain constraints. And fourth is objective, goal. That should be very clear to you. If you have this kind of clarity, then you will find there is a consistency in your writing. It flows. Even if you take extreme positions, you have certain to substantiate why you are taking extreme positions. So my last point is, don't think from the point of view of a sandwich approach where two extreme and one middle path or mera answer ho gaya. The reason is that it may not. Every case is not similar. Every case is not similar. 6 cases, 6 different approaches. Problem hai. There are 6 different problems. So just one approach will not serve or fit in you can say all. So one point which I wanted to highlight finally, that one fit for all answer is not good. Just think a little bit, correct yourself, that's it, and do the practice, whatever you want to do. Any question further you want to ask? Please go ahead, otherwise we'll close.
So how many options we normally should write? 2, 3, 4.
Even only to save the life and kill. यही तो ऑप्शन लेके ही करें.
एक मिनट, Ayush is saying, Nikhil, if evaluated by you, what is the good marks? Ayush, if I'm giving you 9 or 10, then it's good. If I'm giving you anything less than 8, then there is a you can say something to improve, and I must have highlighted. जब मैंने कॉपी करेक्ट किया होगा तो उसमें हाईलाइट किया ही होगा मैंने. Otherwise we can talk anytime. Yes, you are saying that how many options? Options you cannot give more than 3 or 4 maximum. क्योंकि बहुत ज्यादा ऑप्शन प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व में ऐसा नहीं है कि you have to count the option the way you write dimension in the section A. Here you have to take care of the actions that possibly help you to solve some or other issues involved in the case. For example, if transfer, I will do nothing, it's of no purpose, then why to think? कोई तो purpose serve करे, कुछ तो purpose serve करे ना. So it cannot more than 3 or 4. But here I am saying, when I am saying Nikhil 3 or 4, it does not mean I am advocating for sandwich approach. तीन अलग-अलग हो. ये फॉर्मूला नहीं होना चाहिए कि 2 एक्सट्रीम और 1 मिडिल पाथ, क्योंकि ये हर में फिट नहीं बैठेगा फॉर्मूला. ये फॉर्मूला बैठ भी सकता है, नहीं भी बैठ सकता है. इट इज अ वेरी वेरी अलर्ट एंड जुडिशियस कॉल यू हैव टू टेक ऑन द स्पॉट. यार ये फॉर्मूला यहाँ बैठ रहा है, लगा दो. ये फॉर्मूला नहीं बैठा, नहीं लगाएंगे. यस, एनीथिंग यू वांट टू से? यस.
Here it will only and saving the life and to protect the morale of the team. 2 options we can do.
वो तो तुम consequence ऑब्जेक्टिव है ना राहुल, वो ऑब्जेक्टिव है. What he is saying that I will write only 2 options to save the life and to you can say boost the morale. ये ऑब्जेक्टिव है. इस ऑब्जेक्टिव को अचीव करने के लिए क्या करोगे वो पूछ रहा हूँ. These are the objectives to do so. To do so, what are the actions you have? For example, in this question itself, take the example as said by this here itself, by someone that What about the others when they are writing, I will take transfer. Just take the example, my dear friend. Here it's this question. If you write, I will take the transfer, will you get the marks? Escaping from the responsibility, and you just imagine the examiner will laugh. यार क्या लिख रहे हो तुम? Just for the sake of options you are writing, I will take the transfer. It's not worthy of considering. So you will not get.
Extreme options are for only for the extreme situation.
एक्सट्रीम सिचुएशंस होंगे ना, जैसे मैंने कहा ना, विशल ब्लोअर के केस में हो सकता है ना, लाइफ रिस्क पे है, नहीं करेंगे विशल ब्लो. When I have to take two things, either organization's reputation or my life, I am giving priority to my life. There is a valid justification for this. Justification for this, that there is a threat to life. So every extreme is not you are going to be appreciated for. Yes. Exactly. Keep yourself open rather than what I'm saying, that please don't try to fix yourself. And again, why I'm saying that please spare some 10 minutes, 15 minutes to think and correct. Again, I'm saying think and correct. The reason is merely by keeping yourself alert, you can avoid certain mistakes. For that, you don't have to write some 10 or 15 tests. By making yourself alert, you can avoid certain mistakes. This is what the purpose is. बाकी तो जो लिख रहे हो जैसे कर रहे हो अपना सारा रूटीन अपना रखो ना उसमें से कुछ नहीं.
Like two case studies of similar types come. They have at least 60 to 70% similarity.
हाँ ठीक है ना, सिचुएशंस तो अलग होंगे ना, स्टेक होल्डर्स अलग होंगे. आप ये कह रहे हैं कि इशू सेम है, लेट इट बी. What he is saying that what if ये भी एक इशू है स्टूडेंट्स में. जैसे कई लोगों ने मुझे ऐसे में भी ये कहा कि सर कि अगर दो टॉपिक अगर सेक्शन ए और सेक्शन बी हम एक ही तरह के पिक करते हैं तो इज इट वाइज टू डू? यस, ऑफ कोर्स यस. मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि तुमको वहां पे ये दिखाना है कि हम क्लासिकल डांस भी करते हैं और हम दूसरे डांस भी करते हैं. कोई जरूरत नहीं भाई. टॉपिक आया जिसमें तुम कंफर्टेबल हो, प्लीज ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड, डू दैट ओनली. कंफर्टेबल इन द सेंस इफेक्टिवनेस तुम्हारी बरकरार है. सो ये सेइंग कि सर कि दो केस स्टडी एक ही तरह के आगे आ सकते हैं ना. लेट्स से अगर दो कम्युनल राइट का ही टेंशन आ गया, क्वेश्चन आ गया, पूछेगा तो कुछ और ना, सेम तो नहीं हो सकता. कंटेक्स्ट सेम होगा, कम्युनल राइट है, हो सकता है.
Position and limitation.
एग्जैक्टली, वो देखना पड़ेगा उसमें से. Okay, fine. So Ajitesh is asking, can solution can be combination of two choices? Yes, of course, yes, Ajitesh. For in this case itself, you look at the conclusion. What he is asking कि क्या conclusion में हम दो combination को ले सकते हैं, दो option को ले सकते हैं, definitely ले सकते हैं. For example, here itself, conclusion is execution plan. So you will you can say right that in this conclusion that I will continue the rescue operation because it's utmost priority and my duty, and also I will ask the team to continue it. However, at the same time, I will try to meet and pursue the political leader to an apprise about the ground situation, and I will convey my team members that I'm you can say doing my best to, you can say, cancel the suspension. This is my execution plan, combining two options. Execution plan. But two options, when you are combining, cannot be contradictory. Conclusion में अगर आप दो ऑप्शन लिख रहे हैं जितेश, तो वो कंट्राडिक्टरी नहीं हो सकती. अगर कंट्राडिक्टरी हुई है, मार्क्स का है. वो जब भी होगा तो कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री और सप्लीमेंट्री होगा, कंट्राडिक्टरी नहीं हो सकता. एंड दैट्स व्हाई आई सेड कि आप एक एक्सट्रीम कर रहे हैं, आपके आंसर बहुत कंट्राडिक्टरी है, तो कंक्लूजन क्या करोगे, एक्सक्यूशन प्लान में क्या लिखोगे? यू हैव टू अवॉइड दिस काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स. यस प्लीज. फिर से एक बार पूछो प्लीज.
मिनिस्टर के पास सस्पेंशन कैंसिल करना नहीं गए, उसने मना कर दिया, तो उसकी आगे सिचुएशन देखना है
नहीं. Too much of assumptions. He is saying that what if I go to you can say minister and he says that I will not do, so what to do? So the point is there here, you don't have to make too much of assumptions, because then it becomes, you can say, it becomes a too long chain. So assumption after assumption after assumption after assumption, fine. Don't do so. I will do this to achieve this, full stop. May not, simply in the demerit. Because, for example, if you are saying this, you can write that I will go to the minister, but minister may deny. That is a possibility. May deny. इतना ही लिखो, बात खत्म हो गया. हम उसके consequences को लगातार एक chain मत बनाओ. Answers मैंने कभी इस तरह के chain मत बनाओ. क्योंकि वो पूछ भी नहीं रहा और पेपर भी कंप्लीट नहीं कर पाओगे. And more important, the more kind of assumption based chain you create, more and more vague and unclear answer you will present. मैं बार बार एक ही चीज कह रहा हूं. Answer has to be black and white, please. Someone praised me like anything. Thank you very much. Explained, sir. This session moved me from mechanized approach of answer writing. I know this. This is why I am doing. Thanks for appreciating. And this is why I'm saying. See, my limited experience says, जितने लोगों से मैं मिला हूँ, जिन लोगों को भी थोड़ा बहुत मैंने देखा है बहुत करीब से. For example, Sister Jan Deshmukh wrote a lot. उसकी कॉपी अगर कहीं मिलेगी ना, तो सिर्फ और सिर्फ GS स्कोर पे मिलेगी. I challenge. उसकी कॉपी मैसिव लिखा है उसने. और कहीं कॉपी है ना, बाकी मार्केटिंग है. तो उसका कोई मतलब नहीं. जाके देखो, मैसिव है उसकी कॉपी. रैंक 30. I was very surprised to see इस बार 13 विदुषी. Just imagine 25-30 कॉपी है उसकी. I was very surprised कि यार उसकी कितनी कंसिस्टेंसी होगी. 30 days coming to GS score and writing. Can you imagine consistency? So it's not because of me. It's her talent. तुम्हारा सिलेक्शन हुआ तो तुम्हारा टैलेंट है ना यार. We are just a facilitator. ये मेंटरशिप सेशन सिर्फ फैसिलिटेट करने के लिए थोड़ी है. तुम्हारा सिलेक्शन मेरी वजह से थोड़ी ना होगा. It's not because of me. It never happens. ये अलग बात है. सिलेक्शन के बाद लोग तिलक लगा के कहते हैं देखो हमने कहा था हो जाएगा इसका. That's a different kind of story. But anyway, so yes, please go ahead. वो भी लिख सकते हैं आप. वो भी लिख सकते हो. That I will go to the higher authority. I will apprise about the situation, and I will request him to directly intervene because the team motivation is there. But limitation is that you can say the whole process of restoring the suspended you can say team members may take time. That is the limitation. लिमिटेशन बार बार मैं कह रहा हूं. लिमिटेशन वही है जो आपको ऑब्जेक्टिव में एक बाधा है. It's somewhere it's basically either slowing the process or somewhere it is not helping you to achieve this. That's how. This is what the demerit is. Nothing else. Okay, fine. So he is saying that conclusion में repetition ना हो, होगी. Number one, होगी ही होगी. इसीलिए होगी because whatever you are writing body part, उसका crux आप लिखने जा रहे हो. So you will pick one or two options combining and then you will write. So merely by writing style, you may make the changes that this is what I am going to do. It has to be. Repeat होगा ही होगा because whatever you have written, उसी का तो crux आप pick कर रहे हो ना conclusion में. That option one, I will continue and I will need the minister. This is what you are writing. It's a repetition. It has to be. Don't worry for that. Don't worry for that. For example, in essay also, repetition happens. We'll discuss about this tomorrow. So, हम लोग कल क्या करने वाले हैं? So, what I'm going to do tomorrow, fine. So, I will take, you can say, 3 or 4 very abstract questions. Fine. And we'll talk only about one and only one thing. What makes my writing relevant? Right from introduction to conclusion, I am relevant. That's it. Not repetitive, not superficial, not vague, but I'm repetitive. So what we need to do to keep or to remain relevant while writing, we'll do it in the class. So tomorrow we are going to do this. Fine. और जो बुकलेट्स वगैरह मैं कह रहा हूँ वो आपके अकाउंट में जाता रहेगा. You just do as per the instruction, nothing else. Rest I have my number. Yes, please.
Is there any recording of yesterday's
मुझे आइडिया नहीं है, आप बाहर से पूछ लें, आप मुझे उनसे पूछ लें. सो बट देन वन थिंग आई विल सजेस्ट, मोस्टली डू इट नाउ, टेक इट दिस अप्रोच, क्योंकि उतना टाइम अब है नहीं कि बाद में देखेंगे. आइदर डोंट इंगेज, कि टच ही नहीं करना हमको कोई भी एक्स्ट्रा चीज, और डू इट नाउ, क्योंकि जो हो गया, जो पेंडिंग है पेंडिंग है. अब तो ऐसे में बैकलॉग क्लियर नहीं हो सकता ना, अगला 15 दिन में ऐसा कौन सा चीज कर लो जो बैकलॉग होगा, बल्कि टेंशन में तुम ज्यादा रहते हो, क्योंकि जब भी अकेले में बैठोगे ना तो कुछ ना कुछ याद आएगा कि ये छूट गया है, छूट गया, कि यार ये छूट गया, वो छूट गया, इसको देख लेते तो अच्छा रहता, सेकंड ईआरसी का समरी देख ले, क्या नहीं देंगे क्या. अरे इतने सवाल रहते दिमाग में. तो इट्स बेसिकली that you have to give a challenge to yourself, that wherever I am, whatever I know, will do best from that only. जितना मेरे पास है हम उसी से बेस्ट बनाएंगे. ये माइंडसेट ही आपको एग्जामिनेशन में विन कराएंगे. थैंक यू, सी यू टुमारो. थैंक यू.